If that's the first word to this live stream, that's great.
Got it.
Got it.
I got it.
All right. Hello, everybody. This is sprint number 9 for the World Wide Writeathon, or social sprint number 9. Let's be specific. And we were chatting backstage. Let me just put it this way. If, in summary, a lot of people are having computer issues. So to fight the gremlins, save your stuff, back it up, which actually that's one of the things I'm probably going to do on a sprint is back up documents on my hard drive. And yeah, don't let them win. Don't let them win.
Also, if you haven't yet, technical difficulties is probably on your bingo sheet. So
yes. Mm-hmm. We got a camera not working, someone using their phone because the computer's not working. And actually the camera, Chandra's camera is just, she's on her laptop. So it's 2 laptops that are not doing too hot and everything. But yeah, you're welcome. Bingo.
Anybody I've only had this laptop for a year. Like, come on.
Oh my goodness.
So my current laptop is now working better, but it went through for some random reason, like 2 months of crashing when just doing the normal stuff that like I've always done on it. And I was like, why is this happening? Like, you used to behave. I'm not doing more heavy duty stuff than like you're used to. And then all of a sudden it fixed itself. I'm like,
Mom.
Yeah, my laptop it was powered on and it shows it's connected to the Wi-Fi, but whenever I tried to load any page, it's just like, nope.
I got it.
The connection timed out because the other site took too long to respond. And I'm like, no, it didn't. It literally did not. That didn't happen. You are being special. I know that my computer just like is very like, oh, the sun's too hot. But
did you disconnect it from the network, then turn it off, then turn it back on, and then turn the network back on, or the Wi-Fi back on for the computer? Like, don't restart your whole network, obviously.
Yeah, we're going through that now, and we shall see.
Got it.
Good job. It is just it takes a while to reboot. Granted, this computer is refurbished, and it was old to begin with, but it's 2 years old to me now, and I think it was already very well.
Yeah. Well, is that your pretty computer that we always see?
No, that's what I'm on now, but that computer doesn't have a webcam, so I moved my external mic over, and then that's why I couldn't hear y'all at first, because I was like, I don't know what speakers to use, because it's got like 4 different sets of speakers, and all of them were like, haha.
I have a computer.
I was at my mom's for a few days this past week, and I came home on Friday to my place. Everything was fine when I left. And then I come home and I was at home. I really was only there right before this happened. Like, so I went over to my mom's place on Thursday morning because she needed me to watch Riley. And then I stayed over that night because I was like, didn't feel like packing up and coming back home. So I came home the next Friday morning, afternoon, whatever you want to call it.
What I do?
And my internet isn't working. Like, nothing is loading on any of my devices. I realized that my phone says it's connected to the internet, but nothing's happening. Like, the bars are all perfect. And I'm like, I am streaming tomorrow, which was yesterday at this point, at 8 a.m. as the first productivity sprint for the World Wide Writeathon. This needs to get fixed. And so I call them, and obviously it takes forever for customer service, whatever. But when they finally get on, the guy's like, oh yeah, you just like should unplug and reset your modem and router like once a month. And
I mean, I never do that, but definitely if you're having connectivity issues, that is a good thing. I know I was covering a third shift at my job one time, and I logged on early, just to make sure there was a smooth transition. And because I was the only person working that shift, so I had to be there. And I go to log in, and nothing is working. To the point where I've got the two people who are there trying to help me troubleshoot. I'm troubleshooting. Finally, I call my boss, and I'm like, "Hey, we've been at this for 20 minutes." And he was like, "Just shut down your computer, shut down your modem and router, shut everything down at the same time for 2 minutes, and then reboot it all together." And that fixed it. But if things aren't syncing up, that is a good call. If that doesn't fix it, just burn it down. But given my other computer, if my desktop is working, then I know it's just localized to that specific computer.
Well, I thought it was localized on my computer until I couldn't do anything. At first, I thought it was a specific website that wasn't loading. And then I was like, so I tried other websites. That didn't work. And then I tried my phone to get my phone actually using the Wi-Fi, because you know how a phone will if you go into settings, it'll say it's connected to Wi-Fi, but if it's not actually using the Wi-Fi, it'll just show the bars. Mm-hmm. Because it's this is what we're actually using. So that's when I was like, oh, this is multiple devices. So then
one thing I also do, and this is more so if I want to see if a website is down, but I will always go on Twitter, because if anything is broken, Twitter knows.
Yeah.
Well, I went into
good old Twitter.
I went into the Spectrum app, which is my internet, and there's a button where it's am I in an outage? And you just you open the chat bot, and it's what can we help you with today? And it's that's one of the options. So I did that. It's you're not in an outage. I'm great.
Y'all are missing so many Dobby sightings right now too.
Oh no.
I didn't even think of that.
If I start to sound winded, it's because I'm
the Dobby Olympics have
Dobby size.
Yep.
It's Dobby size.
Oh my goodness.
So I know you're saying Dobby size as in it's Dobby and exercise, but I'm hearing Dobby size as in oh, it's small. It's Dobby hyphen size.
I read a book recently. Well, and I did it through audiobook, and it's one of the books that shows up on my Twitch, but it's set in Philadelphia or Pennsylvania or whatever. But I didn't know that in Pennsylvania there's this word called John, Jawn, and a character's name was Johnny. So in audio, I hear it as Johnny, not Johnny. And I'm trying to form to make it a difference, but to me it's Leviosa, not Leviosa. It's Leviosa that I hear. But I listened to audiobook. I just thought it was a girl named Johnny the whole time, because I've met girls named Ryan, Michael, and everything. So it was the difference between reading versus listening.
Mm-hmm. What it sounds like. Yep.
Yeah.
Homonyms. They'll get you.
Yeah.
If you don't know that the other option is a thing.
I mean, really, if you don't know it exists.
Otherwise you're oh, context clues. But if you don't know that the other thing is a completely different, you're
spelling.
I don't know.
Or the other end, where you always hear a word, but you've never seen it written down.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Oh my God, that has happened to me. Well, okay, so when I grew up on the Upper East Side of Manhattan, which if you're thinking Gossip Girl, that is what I grew up around. My mom did not let me grow into that, because those people are awful, the bane of my existence. Never want to interact with those type of people again if I have to. But people would come to school wearing branded stuff all the time. And if I went to a mall with my mom when we were in New Jersey visiting her brothers or her mom, we would walk past, the bigger stores or whatever. And I thought Hermes, which is a very high-end, company, I read it as Hermes when I was little. And my mom was so proud of her parenting. She was like, yes, my daughter knows Greek mythology and is less concerned about brand names. But then she did tell me, she was like, there's an accent on it. It is Hermes. It was before I had started taking French.
So one thing I've noticed is that when you listen to audiobooks, it's harder to write the fan fiction for those stories because you don't know how spells are spelled or how names are spelled or how locations are spelled. And it's like, dang it.
So the Super Carlin brothers, who I love, they do these Jay versus Ben trivia things where they'll a lot of time, because the Wizarding World of Harry Potter has a ton of quizzes all the time. So they'll take a quiz, but what their special format is they have to answer from memory, so they don't get the multiple choice, so they don't get to see the words written out at all. And they mostly, I don't think they physically read the book since maybe they were late teens, and they're both in their early 30s now, and all they do is listen to them. So they'll be points on spelling, and they'll be nope, no points on spelling because we have no hope of getting.
I always have to have the wiki open for.
That's what I do.
Yeah.
I'm trying to write a Harry Potter fanfic. I'm only 9 chapters in, but I need the wiki. How do you spell this spell? Every time. Because there's lots of battles in this one. Because it's Voldemort raises Harry to be an assassin against the Order of the Phoenix version. And
I like that.
So, yeah, he's a kid.
I'm really interested in how you went with the hero to villain arc. What was the convincing factor?
Voldemort heard the whole prophecy and is like, oh, heck no, I'm blood adopting this kid. He's mine. I'm going to thwart it. And so Wormtail abducts Harry on Halloween night and just stuns and
then it goes forward.
The other two. Yeah. And Snape is
so
what have I done? This
alive?
kid's life is horror. Oh gosh. Voldemort is not a kind parent.
Oh. Can you imagine if he was you know what? Not only am I circumventing the entire prophecy that made up the canon 7 books, but it turns out he's a really loving guy.
No.
No. I don't think he could be Cersei, where you're you know what? She really loves her kids, but she sucks in all other aspects of life.
I mean, some people are like that, but yeah, I would have been okay, now I can't believe it. I'm sorry.
Well, out of all the characters, as far as parenting in Game of Thrones, I would say that Lady Olenna is one of my favorites.
Was that the old lady that poisoned Joffrey? Yeah. Oh no, I like her.
Is me or whatever. I didn't even watch the show, but I know that she's the one who did it.
Oh, she's wonderful.
Bless her.
Wonderful.
I don't know if it was Marjorie Tyrell's first outfit, but there was an outfit or whatever that I saw that just looks so pretty, and I was I would love to wear that for Halloween, but given I know nothing of the context, I don't feel comfortable doing that.
Okay,
Marjorie was something, and yeah, I personally wouldn't dress up as her for Halloween. So
well, I mean, I still haven't watched it and whatever, so I'm still not going to.
I would still watch it.
The show has great costumes, so if you like dressing up, wow.
But it's also after what I heard happened in the 8th season, right? That was the last one?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I know the last one is where it all went to shit or whatever, and I watched many a video essay on the topic. But it was I love the braids that now I'm blanking on the name. Daenerys had, and I'd watch those YouTube and TikTok and reels and things like that of people doing the braids, but then I saw what happened to her character. I was like, no. Pass.
So I always say this. I'm even though the final season wasn't what we had all hoped it would be. I still think it's worth watching because I still think the final season is better than 90% of what you see on TV.
This is one of the ones where I would say don't wait for the book to come out, okay?
Oh, I wasn't going to do that. The reason I'm actually avoiding Game of Thrones is not because I heard the last season is bad. It's because I don't need to open a book and know that I'm going to be slapped in the face with a bunch of gender violence. It's like, so I stay away from adult fantasy most of the time unless someone has read it and is like, oh, it won't be problematic for you. And it's also why I have to now stay away from historical romances, because one too many times where it's like, either it doesn't, they never reference it, first of all, in the book description. It's never mentioned, but sometimes it'll be like, oh, if the guy finds out the girl's secret, like he won't want her. And then it's like, oh, it turns out that she was. And then other times there's no mention of it at all. And then it's just like in the story. And I'm like, and like.
Which is why if you would like to read a book and you're not sure about the content, you can go on my Ko-fi and put in a request. And I will read the book and I will tell you if there's anything in there that you would not want to read. You can put
I know. When you told me that, I was so like happy about that.
It's a different version of a sensitivity reader.
Yep.
It's
you're like
what would I call it? Like a buffer, reader buffer?
I will say that your title for book screening, like the word screening is a little bit, like I know what it means. Mm-hmm. But I feel like other people might be a little bit.
Okay, that's a good call.
But I also feel like if you say book vetting, people will think that you're like editing, which is also not what you're doing. So I don't have a suggestion.
I have a suggestion. You're a personalized sensitivity reader. You let me know everything that you are sensitive to, and I will read the book and let you know.
There you go.
I will make this
targeted sensitivity reader. Come on, we're writers. We should come up with the right word for this thing.
Yeah, but we're saying them out loud, which means we're already at a disadvantage. We're not like brainstorming like on a screen or a piece of paper.
Yeah.
But now that I have the feedback, though, I'll go back and look at it and like.
Because the description is perfect, but when I see like
just the title, it's not.
Just the title, I'm like, Like I've talked to you enough about this on multiple streams where I'm like, I got you, but
yeah, that is good to know. And I have read, I don't know. I'm just giving her name though. You should probably know, but I've read pretty much not everything, but like 75% of what Karen Slaughter has written, I have read. And it's like thriller, horror, I would say. So. Like, I'm gonna be okay, is what I'm trying to say.
I like Natalie's suggestion of buffer.
A book buffer?
Yeah, I think, and then the alliteration of that.
Yeah.
Ooh, book buffer. Okay, it shall be named from this day forth.
And so it shall be done. This is the way.
Yeah.
I have spoken.
Like, what is a book buffer, you may ask? And then explain what the book buffer is.
I should probably make a video for my channel explaining this as well.
Yeah. Well, and then you can link that video to the Ko-fi listing.
Mm-hmm. On my to-do list.
As if you didn't already have enough to do.
You're
welcome.
Yep, it's fine.
All right. Sorry, I realized I got two people that I like to use timers from, so I'm using both of you. But I'm going through my timer list.
Oh, I have the timer pulled up if you wanted that.
Bless you, dear. I was like, you know what? I'm not going to depend on her this time. But no, I depend on you so much that you're like, nah, I got her. She's not going to have her ducks in a row.
It's a cat road.
How much time?
Which one would you like to use?
I was going to use Laura's first for the music, her 20-minute timer.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was going to use Zara's 30-minute timer to hit the 50 for the second one.
And is it a cathedral timer?
Actually, huh?
Is it a cathedral timer?
Maybe, I don't know. Actually, no, switch that. Okay, this is what we're gonna do: a 30 and then a 20, because if you didn't know, I like flash fiction, and I'm a little behind, so we're going to use one of these sprints. The 30-minute sprint is going to be following this flash that is below.
So just so everybody knows, the cathedral timers use copyright music, so they're for personal use mostly. Okay. It's in the description in all caps in the top of the description, but just so you know, like, important safety tip: if you don't want your live stream, you'll get it claimed if you use the audio on the cathedral timers.
Good. Yeah. No. Okay, so I'm not seeing any music ones that are 30 minutes.
Okay. Well, then we'll do Zara's 30-minute one typing first, and then Laura's
20-minute.
20-minute. I think that's the one that has the thunder at the very end as your title.
Almost all of them do.
Yeah, I love it.
I think that's on a bingo card if anybody gets startled by it.
That just reminded me of a dream I had where, so it was like you're watching a cartoon, so everything's timed, but all the animation sounds were live, and you got to see all the people do it live, and like there was thunder, and I saw somebody shaking the metal sheet.
I love
stuff like that. It was, and I was like, oh my god, when I don't look at them, it matches perfectly. Like I was amazed in my own dream.
I saw at the New York Philharmonic, like right before they shut down and poured like a crazy amount of money into redoing it, I saw Psycho, the Hitchcock film, with my roommate, and they did the music live, and it was just like, and now that they're reopening, it's so funny. My mom's reading me the program. She's like, do you want to go to any of these? She reads them, and she's like, oh, they're doing one of the Harry Potter films. I'm like, Sorcerer's Stone? And she's like, nope. I'm like, Philosopher's Stone? She's like, nope. She's like, Chamber of Secrets. I was like, why are they starting with the second one?
That's the one I watched live with an orchestra. I watched Chamber of Secrets, and I watched Empire Strikes Back.
Ooh, see, my family is much more like, I mean, me and my cousins who introduced me to Harry Potter, like, we love that. But in general, my family is much more Star Wars than anything else. Like more than Tolkien, more than Harry Potter, you know. And I'm like, I mean, at least they have good taste. Yeah, almost everyone in my family is in denial that the sequel trilogy happened, and I'm like, I mean, fair.
I haven't watched any of it, but I also like grew up watching the originals.
Yeah, so my mom, this was before the sequel is coming out or whatever, but my mom at one point was just like, because I got introduced to Star Wars late, like personally, like I'd heard a lot about it, but I hadn't seen the movie for a very long time. So my mom was like, oh, look up Star Wars and we'll find it. And all I was finding, I was like, original Star Wars movie. And it kept saying like A New Hope. And my mom's like, no, it's just called Star Wars. And I'm like, I'm telling you, Mom, this is all I got. And it wasn't until I finally like bit the bullet and clicked on Wikipedia where it was like originally released as Star Wars and since rebranded as Star Wars A New Hope. And I was like, this could have saved 20 minutes. But I assumed that Wikipedia wouldn't be helpful because I was looking for where this was streaming or where we could buy it from.
Right.
Yep.
Oh.
Sorry, I keep muting, but I've got like those 100 little tiny sneezes happening.
Oh no!
I'm like the bingo space.
Yeah, that's a bingo. So next time, save it for the camera.
Well, I'm doing it on camera. I'm just muting. Does it have to be out loud?
I don't think it's have to hear it. I think it just has to be on camera. But I had Anna Robbins and Nina Natasha on my stream first thing yesterday morning. And I didn't know it about Anna because she didn't say it until her stream later. But they were both like sneezing and coughing. And I like made Nina keep her camera on during one of them. And I was like, and I know that Anna was also fighting it. I could have been like, either one of you, just make sure you're on camera once.
Well, I just did like 5 of them. Every time you saw my hand go like that, that was like, they're just these little ones. I'm like, get out, whatever allergen, dust or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Get out.
Leave my body. I'm done with you.
I'm like, dear. I'm like, oh, that's embarrassing.
Will you throw that that prompt in the
chat? Yes, dear.
Thank you.
I just wrote it all down.
I did too.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Yeah, I'm lazy and I can't spell, so I'm like, I need to.
Well, and then so I actually double checked, and I was like, work a day, what? Like, and I look, and it's spelled exactly that way in the book.
It's an adjective.
Really?
And it's all together.
Oh, and is that how you spell ferment, or is that a firmament?
Firmament, yeah, that's how you spell it.
Okay, I never heard that word before. I always have to. This helps.
My grandma was very big on like a large vocabulary, so I did a ton of reading, and everyone in my family was like, "You know that word?" I'm like, "Let's see." I read books that were older than my age category. I grew up in our family, and I had to take the independent school entrance exam, which is basically the SAT, but from middle school to high school, because my middle school ended and I had to apply to high schools as if it were college. And then I took the SAT. And I'm a writer, where would I have learned a vocabulary in those 5 things?
My thing was, my parents always read books to us that were not in our age group specifically, but would also explain to us what everything meant. But also reading the King James Version Bible will.
That's what we have. So.
Yeah. So firmament, Genesis chapter 1. Yeah. And but honestly, though, if it weren't for poetry and vocabulary, I would not have passed high school.
Also, musical theater, surprisingly good for vocabulary. Stephen Sondheim, very wordy, likes his stuff. Same with Lin-Manuel Miranda, because his raps have really good vocabulary in them. And then if you listen to Wicked by Stephen Schwartz, half the words are made up, and then some of the words that you think are made up are, oh, no, they're real.
Yeah.
There's so many words like that where someone says something, I'm like, you made that, wait.
Like, no, it's a real word.
It's like swankified, made up. Some of the other words in that very same song are very real.
Yeah. My son started reading adult books, like sci-fi and fantasy type books, way young. So he recommends books to me. He's the one that, is an avid reader. Like, he just didn't like the little kid books. And so his teacher for the longest time thought he couldn't read. I'm like, no, he just doesn't want to read that. Give him a different book, but he couldn't. Yeah.
Okay, but tell me how many times this has happened. You type out a word, and the spell checker tells you it's not a word, and you're like, no, it is.
I know it's a word. I read this word.
And then you go find it, and you have to explain to your spell checker that actually, yes, this is a word.
Sometimes I'll get that, and then I'll
back and forth, changing it, like you fix it because it tells you it's wrong. You fix it, and it says no, that's wrong too.
If spell check actually gets a 1-up on me and like makes me second guess myself, I'll pop it into Google and they'll be like, "No, you're right." I'll be like, "I was right."
Yeah.
I was right, you an inanimate object.
But my son used to go around saying words wrong because he never heard them. He only read them. And I'd be like, what word is he saying? And I'm like, oh, you mean such and such, because he'd only ever read it. And he goes, is that how you said it? I've read it in 3 books already. I'm like, oh, no.
Though, my favorite one, and I'm keeping this, there's a clip floating around, and it's from some, like, cooking show, and I don't know the show. Super doesn't matter. But she's like talking about the recipe, and she's like, I'm just going to go pop this in the microwave. And I was like,
microwave. Wow. I love that.
I was watching Food Network Star, and this is just me loving this woman's accent, but she would say pistachio as pistachio. Like, it was like an emphasis on the I, and I'm like,
it's in a kid's show.
I love it. So, okay, my son really wants to put me on mute. So I think we should start this front.
I told you, he's your manager over there.
He is.
He's got you taken care of.
He's our 6th person, and I'm definitely going to reorder this thing, so I'll be hidden behind the prompt. And we never said this out loud, but the prompt is stranded in a foreign city. The words to include are Baptist, assets, cupcake, showcase, neurology, workaday, pine, cushion, assistant, and firmament. I got some words to look up. Nope.
Die.
Yeah, my mouse did die.
Yeah, try this.
Yes, I will charge it.
Workaday means ordinary.
And firmament means
Mom.
Sky, the heavens,
Mom.
really?
Mom.
I would have
the
thought
stars in the firmament.
Mom. I'll try
Okay.
this.
Cool. I learned something new. Thank you.
Yeah,
You saved me some
when I
time
was
off the
younger,
30
I
minutes.
thought it
I'll try
was
this.
the earth because it's firm, but no, it's the.
Cool. All right, everybody ready? You don't have to do the flash, but if you would like, you can join. Otherwise, this is, as Zara says, happy productivity. And productivity also counts as doing nothing because that's self-care.
And that's also a bingo square.
Yes. All right, go plug it in over there. I still got to look up these bingo squares. I was traveling yesterday, so I didn't see like anything. All right, ready? Count us down, Chandra.
3, 2, and
Take off that one.
Hey, we got through it. How did everyone do? I heard a meow.
Just need like 3 more sentences.
That's me every time. But also, like,
Mom.
okay, I totally dragged
Mom.
to start. Yes, sweetie.
I did that one.
Okay, you played in your 3DS.
Okay.
Not the Nintendo Switch, the 3DS. There are 2 different systems, 2 different games. Please do not get that stuck. He did that before. He put a Switch game in the 3DS, and I'm taking my tweezers trying to fish it out.
Did you get it out?
I did get it out. And
okay, that's the important question.
And it's still playable. So.
Okay, Natalie, I'm addressing your like overall comment on this chapter, and you're like, how'd she get rid of the pill that she's hiding in her mouth? And I thought of an idea, and I'm like, did I give her a bathroom in her disguised jail cell or not? And I think the answer is no, which means I need to figure that out going forward. And I'm like, do I go back and re-revise the previous chapter and be like, there's a little door, which like when she opens it is just a toilet? Or am I like, nope, this is going to be an inconvenience for her where every time she has morning sickness, she needs to alert someone and hope they arrive in time.
Yeah.
So what do you all think?
I would say you could throw the bathroom, mention it once at like the very beginning, like maybe when she's like looking around, like, oh, there's a door, opens it. Okay, well, I guess I got to go somewhere else for a shower, is what I'm assuming if it's just a half bath or something like that. And then it's assumed anytime after that where I was sick or something like that. And you could throw in a little extra where you don't have to say it, but when she's sick, throw in made it in time. Most people understand.
Right. Yeah. No, and I did that earlier when she was like in a normal location where her every move was not being monitored by basically jailers who are pretending to not be her jailers. As you know, Natalie.
The old switcheroo.
Yeah. But then I was like, I was coming up with the solution to your question. And then I was like, oh no, I don't think she has a place.
When it's a bigger. Yeah.
So I don't know the context of this, but I will just tell a short story and maybe the short story will be helpful. One of my dad's childhood friends used to be given prune juice semi-regularly for reasons, and she hated it.
That sounds so disgusting.
But everyone would check to make sure she took it. So
that sounds a little bit similar to what's happening here.
She would take her cup and she would lay down in her bed and act like she was drinking it, and then she would lift the corner of her mattress and pour it out.
They never noticed a puddle like underneath her mattress?
It was in the back corner. And the carpet was absorbing it. So when they went to move her crib, yeah, that's when they found it. So that was some time later.
Oh dear.
Oh, that I bet it smelled horrible.
I think what happened was that I would be worried about the ants too. I think what happened was that it wasn't frequent. It was infrequent enough that it had time to dry, but frequent enough that it had a chance to like totally destroy the carpet.
Oh God, that is the cleaning, like. But at the same time, I can understand from a kid's point of view. And when you said the crib, I was like, oh, it's not like she was being completely defiant. It was like, Mom, Dad, I don't like this. Get rid of it type thing. So, poor kid.
Right.
Probably looked like a murder scene.
What happened back here?
Well, I finished my flash. I just didn't include, I still got to include 2 more words so I can figure out where to put them in. Pine and cushion, which I've already in my head have like one of the characters pining to lay their head down on the couch cushions or something like that. That's how I can incorporate that, because they're stranded and they're like, I just want to get back to the hotel. But I wanted something with playful banter. So I had this like couple bickering back and forth where the wife is like, You don't remember what you told the driver? He's like, honey, I didn't remember what I had for breakfast this morning. You want me to remember what I said in another language just 3 hours ago? And he's like thumbing through his little translation book the whole time. And then at the very end, I'll ruin it, or make it up. The driver drives up and it was like, there you are. And they're like, they both look at the driver and go, you speak English? He goes, yeah. And the wife just like slides into the back seat, no problem. The husband's looking at the driver like, why didn't you tell us? And the driver's like, well, she said she wanted you to practice, so I just thought it would be helpful if I didn't speak English. And so he slides in the back seat, laughing his head off. And his wife's like, what? And he goes, nothing, dear.
I actually did, of course, as always, a similar scenario. Only mine is, I was surprised by this, but mine is a story that's appropriate for Pride. And so instead of being a couple, it's best friends, but their families assume that they're a couple.
Mm-hmm.
But they're stranded. And so she's like, they're both separated from their actual partners, and they're kind of talking about it, but the flight is grounded, so they're stranded in a foreign city.
Oh, I like that you made it a flight, because I got them like on a cobblestone path.
Yeah, so they're out in the middle, like in the wilderness for her work, and they're just like taking extra advantage of the extra time since they are stranded in that city, but they do have to get back to the city before the snow gets really bad. But she's like really cranky, and he's her assistant, but they're also really good friends. And so she like starts going off on him, and he has like I think it's really funny, where she like goes to start yelling at him, and he just like sticks a bite of cupcake in her mouth and then immediately like starts apologizing. And it's like a whole, just like a stream of like, you know, those
I love the banter. So Laura, did you end up writing one?
Yeah.
Dude, share. It's time.
Want me to share the story or just what it's about?
Yeah, just what it's about. Like, we don't have to read the stories and anything, but like, I like this little, and you can pull in a favorite line, because I got a line that I want to read y'all too. So
yeah. Mine's a cosmic horror. Surprise, surprise. So yeah. She's a neurologist, and after 72 hours of straight research of her and her assistant, they've crashed on the couches in the back of the office. But she had a vision during one of the experiments with the electrodes and stuff. When the supermoon came and shone through into her eyes, she had a vision. And so now she's acting on the vision. And so she sneaks out of the office and drives to a trailhead and walks to a lake where the Baptist is waiting. And the Baptist is this winged, horrific looking creature that decides to take her, like, the moon subdues her conscious mind, and she walks on the water to him, and he like engulfs her in his wings, and they go through the still lake into the other city and the stars, and she's gonna get abandoned.
Wow.
Walks on water, no biggie.
Yeah.
Thought you were special. JC, nuh-uh.
So my line and everything. By the way, I love that. I love the intricacy, because I can imagine it perfectly. But the line for mine is like this like pinnacle moment where they're just like, oh my God, we're doomed. So George says, like, Bev's like, we should have hired assistant. She meant translator, but she said assistant. He goes, now Bev, honey, I got this. No need to outsource when we have the assets. Bev rolled her eyes. We're two American Baptists on a knockoff Price is Right showcase trip. Neurology would be cake. No, cupcake compared to this workaday. People travel every day, but we can't seem to figure it out.
I like that.
I had like 2 lines in there of like, it's cake. No, cupcake. Like, that's going to be my new like level.
It's a piece of cake. No, cupcake.
It's a piece of cupcake. And then I just like the not like the play on words, or it's not the literacy, but the knockoff Price is Right showcase.
Yeah, that made me.
Mm-hmm. I just I gotta keep that one in my back pocket and use that one again.
Yeah. Can you imagine if you use it in real life? Then he can like be like, I did it, and everyone will be like, what do you mean? And you'll be like, if you were there, you know.
Yes.
If you were on this stream, you know.
Yeah. Oh, we got a few more people in here. I've been throwing it up. Very clever child, yes. Look like a murder scene from the prune juice and everything. Mm-hmm. Michael, Regina, and then everybody saying hi to everybody.
Yeah. So my favorite line is the dialogue from Dylan, but I'll read it for you.
Yes.
This is right after he shoved the cupcake into her mouth and then realizes what he did.
He was just
How do you not realize you shoved a cupcake into someone's mouth?
Well, like, you know when you act on impulse and then you're like, oh, like that was supposed to be the video that played in my head, not the thing that I actually did.
Like, I'm just trying to make her quiet. Then it's like, oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah. So he's like, I am so sorry, he said, his eyes going wide. It just seemed like you were going to start yelling at me, and I only don't have the emotional space to deal with that right now. Brad and I are fighting, and you're so touchy with your misophonia. And I know you miss Krista, and she's the only one who can really deal with you in your life. I'm sorry, I didn't know what to do.
I imagine him being very spastic with that, like, and saying all that in like one breath very quickly.
Yes. Yes.
Oh, you got a favorite line, Laura?
I got a couple. The opening one is, the stars in the firmament shivered. It was time.
Ooh, ominous.
The smell of pine hit her in the face as she emerged from the sterile building. And cicadas stilled as she passed. Their joyous songs turned to mournful marches in her wake. Small rocks dug at her feet and gripping toes, tiny lacerations marking her.
God, you are so
like that.
I like it.
I play with banter back and forth. That's my strength.
I'm proud of myself for not killing anyone in my short story.
I know, bravo. Though depending on where you leave it off, you could assume they died because they were never rescued.
Fair.
Yeah, depending where you left off. Zara, Nia, did y'all write anything? What did y'all end up doing?
I took Loki out. Yeah, he slept in because it's Father's Day, so my husband was sleeping in. So I was like, oh, I guess I got to take Loki out. So he's been like,
so 30 minutes worked out perfectly then.
Yeah, because the weather, after being like roasting for the last week or so, the weather is beautiful today. And I'm like, Loki, we got to come in. Loki's like, I'm never coming back in the house.
It's been in the 80s here, and this morning it was 55.
Oh my goodness.
So yeah, long sleeves.
I got back from Tennessee, and it was like 90s, and I got pictures. My son was sweating. That boy sweats, my goodness. And he's got like my complexion a little bit where he gets really red and such. And I'm like, I'm sorry, buddy. Drink more water.
I finished revising chapter 36. Oh, sorry.
What was that?
Oh, go ahead.
I finished revising chapter 36.
Yay! We just got to figure out the bathroom situation.
Yeah, so I liked your suggestion, and then I did the exact opposite in the actual chapter. Sorry, Natalie.
It's your book, dude. Artistic license.
My mom will always be like, why do you ask me something and then do the exact opposite? I'm like, because I didn't know what I wanted to do until I heard that I didn't want to do the other thing.
Yeah,
that's like that. I'm a fan of flipping a coin because it's not about like letting the coin make the decision. It's that as soon as you remove your ability to choose, you become very clear about what it is that you actually want.
Yes.
Yep.
I 100% agree. 100% agree. Oh God, I can't speak.
Yeah, sometimes you just have to hear the other options and know, like, nope. Okay, this is what I'm going to do. Never mind.
Whenever we have a specific family friend over, it's really funny because my mom and her will always be like, oh, do you want to watch something with us? And I'll be like, it's going to take forever for you to decide on something. But the few times that they have tried, we'll be like, okay, what do you want to watch? And then I immediately go in with the, like, I don't want this, so that we can narrow down the categories faster.
Yeah, I usually do coin flips or something. I also will. I had the problem where I'll like do a coin flip and I go, all right, that's it, and I make a decision. And sometimes if an outside source comes to the decision, then I can make the decision better. That whole like I know what I really want. But if I make the decision, I'm so stubborn that even if I wanted the other one, I'd be like, oh nope, we're committed. Let's go.
I mean, honestly, though, if it's a matter of that or analysis paralysis, then it's like,
yeah. Oh, I refuse analysis paralysis. Like I am. It was so annoying. I love my family, and I'm not just talking my immediate family. I mean like the extended, like my sisters, their kids, and stuff like that, and my parents. We're all in this house together, and it's like, what should we do? And they keep on spitting out, and I'm like, okay, so how about Thursday we do the Ferris wheel and then the little mountain roller coaster. Friday we're gonna do this and go to this place. And they go, that sounds good. I'm like, all right, let's go. Like I am not gonna sit here and just go, maybe this, maybe that. Yeah. No, I'm like, let's go.
If I'm trying to organize like a date that like multiple people can get together, then I'm like, I have to wait for everyone to respond. But otherwise I'm like, okay, here's enough group input. I'm going forward. Here's a plan. We can reject it. We can tweak it. But like, we need something kind of like, you can't edit a blank page. It's like, you can't make a plan without ever trying something.
Exactly. Sometimes I'm like, okay, nobody knows this is what's happening. And other times I just say, well, this is what I'm not going to do. So I'm not going to do this and this. Y'all figure it out and then let me know. Bye.
Yeah. I'm very much like, this is the one thing that is a non-negotiable for me today. Other than that, I don't care. Or if I really don't have any preference, then I'm just like, whatever you decide, like I will go along and I won't complain about it because I didn't have a better idea.
I'm for that, but I just need a decision made. That's my thing. I'm a decision maker. Like I believe in like the 80% rule, which is I don't need 100% of the information to make a decision. I will make a decision possibly at 60% of information provided or 80%. Like, but a decision needs to be made at a certain point. And just go with it. This whole like make everyone happy. You can't.
If it involves other people, I'm like, 80%. If it's myself, I'm like, I want to be 90 or more % sure because I don't want to have to tweak what happens.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I'm open to that now. Whereas when I was younger, I was like, well, I made my bed, so now I have to lie in it.
I still like flexibility, and I'll be aware of flexibility because there's plan A, but then there's plan A-1, A-2, where there's modifications to it in the middle of that, going through that plan or timeline and stuff like that.
With me, it's like usually fudging time. Like, okay, we can push that back a half an hour. That'll work. But yeah, when my kids were younger, it was easy. I basically made the decisions. This is what's happening. But I want them to be able to do that same thing. And I've got a couple of kids that are very good at it and a couple that are not. So that's when I'm like, if I really don't care, I'll be like, okay, so not this and this because I'm not doing that. You guys figure it out and let me know when you do. And if you don't decide by such and such a time, I'm not going because I'd rather stay home anyway.
I like the idea of people.
So if I make the decision, I've got to go. So I'm like, if they don't,
I feel like if you're in a group, say what you can't do, what you won't do, like what you're like. I am not in the mood for choosing a place to eat. Say I don't want seafood. All right, cool, and everything. That doesn't mean you can't go to a seafood place, but that seafood place better have some other stuff in it or something like that. Like it's the flexibility there, and if you. Because I know sometimes you can't think of what you want, but you know what you don't want.
Yeah. Well, and to what Morgan's saying, I mean, I agree with that. I think the only time because I'm the same, I think the only time people get annoyed is when they're like, I have a plan, and you're like, yeah, I don't want to make a decision. But as soon as they're like, okay, here's my plan, you're like, no.
I get onto my husband for that so much.
Yeah. No, and don't tell me you don't care. And then when a decision's made, all of a sudden you've got all these complaints. You could have put that on the no list in the first place. It would have been.
It drives me crazy because
if you want your opinion to be counted, get it in.
Yeah, at least, like I said, if you should be able to say one of these. If you're in the middle, then that means you're truly okay with whatever's pitched. But if you have a preference of what to do or a preference of what not to do, pitch one of those or whatever. If you got both, that's even better. And it always try to pitch the positive instead of the negative, if you can think of the positive. But I just lack of. I don't like to give a list of options and then hear no. Be
then
like,
just come out and say no to these things, and then we'll work from there. I have one family member who like will come into New York City often, and he always wants to go to this restaurant, and it's a Mediterranean restaurant, and it's a very good restaurant, but like there are very few things that like I liked there, and then it turns out that I didn't like those things because they all upset my stomach, and that is because like I'm basically intolerant of a certain type of sugar in the FODMAP thing, FODMAP or whatever. And so whenever my mom was like, oh, so-and-so's coming to town, wants to like do dinner with us, and I'm like, not this. So she's like, yes, I know. And I'm like, yeah, but does he know? Like, to not even suggest it. I was like, you can go, he can go by himself, but like if I'm invited, I'm not going to this place.
So I'm reading the comments on food, and I'm hearing what you're saying too, and I feel like that's something that, like, there's a difference. Like, I have friends who have food allergies, and when we're going out to places that with them, it's like, okay, you have food allergies, so you give us the places that you can eat, and we'll pick from those.
Yep.
But like for me, when I'm in the mood for something specific, I will literally, I want to eat that thing or I don't want to eat. And I don't have a justification for that. I'm not a picky eater until it's like, no, I specifically want a burger from this place. Don't try to substitute. Either I'm having a burger from that place, I'm not going to eat, or I'm going to eat something completely different. And that's not me being like I'll go with you. I just don't want to eat that.
Yeah.
But if I say I don't know what I want to eat, like pick whatever, I'm literally saying pick whatever. I couldn't care less.
Yeah. I mean, for me, it used to be that. And now I have so many, like, I now know I have more food allergies than before. And it's always, like, I'm still willing to go to places because I can't really say, like, I'm never going to go to a place where there's no, like, I'm not going to have any exposure to an airborne nut allergy. Because even if places don't use peanuts, they might have pesto, which has pine nuts, which I'm allergic to, and like all these other things. So it's more just like, here's a cuisine that I am feeling up for, or here's a cuisine I'm not, and I will make sure that I have medicine on hand so that I can actually like go out and be at a restaurant. But if it's a place where I can't like basically eat anything except maybe one appetizer, please don't pick that if you're asking me to come with you. Because if I'm at a restaurant, I'm going to get hungry no matter what.
This one?
I will say, be prepared.
He should just start keeping a binder so that in the future he doesn't have to go through that process every time, where it's like, here are vetted restaurants that we know are approved by our friends and we like. Please just pick one.
Yeah. Or you can be like, my husband and I, we were trying to go someplace because Spencer's 4. He's probably old enough that he might maybe behave in a restaurant. We don't know yet because the place we finally got to, like, we're driving around and our cell phones aren't working because even though we had 4 bars, it was acting like we had 0 and stuff. It was really weird. And so we couldn't find reviews or whatever. And sometimes with these mom and pop places, you don't know if it's an actual restaurant or if it's just like this kooky little thing. And so we actually walked in and we're like, oh, it's a restaurant. And I walked in and they go, and we passed by this front desk. It was a Guy Fieri's like downtown Flavortown thing. Past the front desk, go to the food section, and they go, oh, you have to have a reservation. And I'm like, okay, fine. go back to the front desk to make a reservation, and they go, it's going to be an hour and a half wait. I'm like, nope. Spencer's already like, yeah, and I'm just like, this is not going to go well.
Yeah, I definitely have a countdown timer, and I'm very chill about it until I'm like, we have 30 minutes to feed me before I lose my mind.
I don't know whether it's like my ADHD and I get hyperfixated, or it's been just like I already don't have the hunger cues or whatever, and I've just started realizing I do have a thirst cue and things like that. But for a long time, I just think my body was so used to me ignoring it that it stopped giving it to me. But the thing is that by the time I get the hunger cue, my body's like, we need food now. And I'm like, but if you told me earlier, then I could have prepared food.
I think this might be an ADHD thing, but you know how like when you're doing stuff and you have a lot of things that you need to get done, you have to put everything where it's visible, and like sometimes you have to like pick it up and carry it with you until you do the task so that you don't forget. I do that with food too. Like I'll go to like get a snack because I know I'm gonna get hungry, or I'm already starting to get hungry, and I'll see something else and I'll be like, oh shoot, I need to go do that. And then I'll do that thing, and then I'll be like, why do I feel bad?
Here's another side.
Well, now it's like I have this water bottle, so even if I don't get the thirst cue, the next time I get thirsty, I'm like, oh, I'm X hours behind. I'll chug the water, so at the very least, I'm getting the proper amount for the day. And it's like, it's always in front of me, so at least there's that. But I don't do it with snacks yet.
I definitely I've made the people around me aware of what happens, and so they're usually pretty good about like, hey, put some food in your face.
You know,
but just because like, hey, we don't want to get mad at you for being ridiculous.
Yeah,
y'all talked about a countdown.
Like I haven't eaten almost all day, so if I snap at you for saying something, it's not you, it's the hunger talking, and they know already. Yeah, I get that way when I'm starting to get a migraine, or if I've gone too long without eating and I don't have a project to distract me. Now, if I forget to eat and I've got a project, then they've got to bring me food. They're like, you forgot food. I'm like, oh, I'm busy still. I'll give you a few more minutes. And I just clicked my camera.
I think it's one of those things too, though, where like it's easier to be aware of the people around you and if they've eaten or not. Because I have some friends who'll be like calling me and they'll be upset about something, and I'm like, before we get into this, have you eaten today?
I'll text my mom, or I'll be with my mom at her place, hanging out with her and Riley or whatever, and I'll come out of my room at her place and I'll just be like, oh, I feel really dizzy. I think I'm gonna nap. She's like, you can nap, but like, have you eaten? Have you had water today? And I'll always be like, yeah, I was drinking water. She's like, that was half the question. And I'm like, no.
Before we get off the topic of water, though, I have this little thing. I don't know if you can see it.
Yeah.
It is called, it's a ulla.io, I think is the website. I didn't get it. Someone gave this to me because obviously Struggle Bus is real. But there's a little light on the front, and I need to change the battery for this one. But it's a motion sensing device, and it has like a little rubber band, and you stick it on your water bottle. And it senses when you come into the space, and the light will flash if you don't drink every so often. And I use this on my desk at work where I get hyper focused on something, and I'll have a whole cup of water that I then forget to drink. So yeah, it's really good for a workspace because it doesn't make a sound, but it does flash that light periodically to remind you to drink water. And I can't, like, writing, working, whatever, desk related, 10 out of 10 would recommend.
So I can't remember the name of the specific one, but my cousin had gotten this, and it was a smart water bottle. And it did the same thing, but it was part of it, and it had a sensor in the bottle to say how high the water level was. And it was connected to an app, and it would be like, you need to drink more water. And I loved it, but it kept not working for me. Like, it worked perfectly for my mom. It worked perfectly for my cousin, but for some reason, it didn't work for me. They sent me a replacement, still didn't work. And I was just like, I give up. So, which is why I'm now like the analog. Where like it gets done.
Yeah.
Maybe not in a timely manner. I try, but like it gets done.
Yeah. What Eva was saying earlier, I am also a very picky eater, and my daughter is more picky than I am. And I'm just learning from a stream we did a little while ago I forgot who was doing the stream, that a lot of people here are very picky eaters, so I don't feel alone. But we're like, for my daughter, we're like, okay, do they have chicken strips? And chicken strips, yeah. Because even with French fries, she's like, what kind of fries are they? Because she doesn't really like potatoes.
Is there a lot of
she's like, if they're potato-y, she doesn't want those fries. But
if they're wedges,
have, like chicken nuggets, like a kid's meal with a chicken nuggets, then she's good. For me, if you've got fries, and I can have something to munch on.
When I was younger, the only thing that limited my eating was like too spicy or texture. And then as I've gotten older, things that like I used to eat all the time, it's like, oh, like you can't eat this because your whole body rejects it. Like not even just me growing into an airborne nut allergy. I used to make omelets for me and my mom all the time, not because she forced me to cook for her, but just I was like, it was fun for me. And then stop being able to eat cooked eggs. Like they have to be baked into something, and my stomach is okay with that, but otherwise not okay. Used to be okay with yogurt, even though I was lactose intolerant. Like for some reason that was okay. Stop being able to do that. It's just like as the years have gone on, I'm like, I'm not a picky eater. My body is picky.
I know so many people who have like allergies or something, or lactose intolerance. But it's not like vomiting; it's other places.
If I cut out everything that my body doesn't like at some level, and I mean like an intolerance or a sensitivity.
Yeah.
Never gluten, like at all, which is okay because I have found a gluten-free pasta brand that I like.
Nice.
But no bread or whatever, which is what I'm normally snacking on by the time we get to a restaurant, because as we've established,
that's what they put out first.
I'm already hungry by the time we've reached there. Wouldn't eat like, the nut thing takes a lot of things off the table, even things that you don't think about having nuts. So pesto, when I found that out, I was like, are you kidding me? And then like dairy, can't do sesame apparently anymore because that activates a peanut or tree nut allergy. Found that out the hard way.
Okay.
And it's just like all these things. And I'm like, so that leaves me with fruit, which is great, but if all you're eating is fruit, it's not enough for your body.
No, it's not. And vitamins don't do that
which
much.
is also great, but that's really heavy. And what if I want a light meal?
So I have two things just from the comments. The first one is I used to work as a barista. So if you're concerned about going into a social situation like a coffee shop and you still want to order something but coffee isn't your jam, I would recommend a London Fog, which is vanilla simple tea and then steamed milk. You can, of course, sub that out for a kind of milk that you're not sensitive to. It does have caffeine, but if you just don't like coffee, I think the London Fog is super tasty and brings all the
I'll start doing that because that sounds good. That sounds really, really good.
I really like that. The other thing, and I do this in social situations for a lot of other reasons, I also recommend it just for like women in general. If you're going out and you're in a group setting, or if you realize you're in a situation you don't want to be in, you like need to stop drinking, but also you need to have a drink in your hand, I always just order a Shirley Temple because it looks like a vodka cranberry, but it's not.
I love Shirley Temple. Like that's what I used to drink all the time.
I make it at home.
Yeah, I mean, I like them in general, but I know I was out with a friend and we were in a situation and she needed to stop drinking, but she knew if she didn't have a drink in her hand, someone was going to be like, oh, here, have a drink. And I was like, I went to the bartender. I was like, we need a Shirley Temple right here. And so she just carried around, and it actually will help you because it's soda and whatever.
Yeah.
It's like,
I mean, so at my graduation dinner, I did have a cocktail because it like looked really good, but then I wanted another one. And I was like, so actually what I did was I was looking at the cocktail list and I was like, I don't like any of these, but there was a mocktail that I really wanted. So I was like, can you spike it? And he didn't tell me what he was spiking it with, but I correctly guessed that it was vodka. which was fine with me. But then I was like, I want another, but I haven't eaten anything yet because we're waiting at the bar for our table. So can you make me another one as an actual mocktail? And then other times when I'm at restaurants, sometimes I'm like, this looks really good, but I don't feel like alcohol right now. Can I get it virgin? And sometimes they're like, oh, well, it's part of the thing. And I'm like, okay, well then.
I've had free drinks because I'm like, yeah, I want a rum and Coke, but very little rum. And they fill up the Coke and then they put a splash of rum and they just looked at it and go, I'm not going to charge you.
That happens to me every single time because I do not drink. So
I don't
last
either.
time I went out, my cousin owns a bar, and I went up and I was like, I just want a 7-Up. You can put a cherry in it if you want to make it look fancy. And he goes, here, just have it. He's like,
my older cousins are the ones who introduced me to alcohol and cocktails or whatever. And they're all very into it. And I'm like, I'm open to try things, but like, and I'm someone who likes fruity things and also can do like whiskey things, which like surprised everyone that I'd be at both ends of the spectrum. I'm like, if it tastes good, it tastes good. But one of my cousins introduced me to a dark and stormy, which is bourbon or dark rum, depending on what you have, and ginger beer. And I was upstate for 4th of July and we were all having cocktails. And so I was like, oh, I'll make it. Or I think my mom was like, oh, I want to try it or something. So I made mine and she's like, I don't taste the alcohol. So then later she was making herself one. And then she was like, oh, I'll make you one. And I was like, okay, tell me one with the alcohol. And I told her, and I think it was like half a shot of alcohol or less. She's like, that's it. And I'm like, yeah, my body is sensitive to everything. I don't need that much. She's like, that's why I couldn't taste the alcohol before. And I'm like, yeah.
Whenever we go out for work, to like go out for lunch on Fridays and stuff, pre-panini, we would like, people would always get their beers. I just get a ginger ale and cranberry. So like, it was really nice. So you could still do the cheers.
Yeah.
It was great.
Yeah.
I just grab
I've cheers with water.
I barely drink soda. So I literally most of the time just have my soda that looks fancy. I'm like, you can stick an umbrella in it, do whatever you want with it. If you need to do something.
People in my family, like, so they all order different drinks. Like no one has the same taste in drinks in my family. So most of the time they come out at different times. So if we're doing a cheers, sometimes they're like, oh, wait for everyone to have their drink, even if some are alcoholic and other ones aren't. But sometimes we're like, we don't want to do this once the food is out and the appetizers are out. So like, we'll just cheers with whatever people have in their hand. So like if half the people just have a glass of water at that point, we're like, screw it. We just cheers to get it over with. So my family does not care about what you're drinking. They just want to make sure you're drinking something, hopefully hydrating, but as we all know, alcohol is not. So they'll be like the combo. But I had a friend post on an Instagram story a month ago, maybe, being like, why do people give you such a weird look if you say that you don't drink? And I'm like,
that needs to stop.
And I'm like, I never grew up around that. So I was like, people actually do that? Like, why does that matter?
Yeah, I think I was just reading a Facebook post about that. Someone who is no longer able to drink and that they actually get nervous when they have to go into situations like, how am I going to explain this? And then if they don't say that they don't drink when they first come in, then people will constantly keep asking them, are you sure? And it's like, so I'm like, if you ever need a friend to say we don't drink, I'll be that friend.
I'm friends with lots of people. I give them my drink tickets, and they're my friend forever.
Yes, I've given my drink tickets, even though I'm not allowed to people where I'm like, I don't drink. So I have a few questions, and I've been staying silent on this because I want y'all to talk. But one, we talked about earlier about where you reach this level of hunger where you're like, I need food now, like you're angry and stuff like that. Have y'all dealt with where you just finished eating, you are full, and somebody's trying to ask you about the next meal, and you're like,
yes, not. Oh my god, my mom will sometimes do that to me, and I'm like, you just saw me eat. Like,
Like, I am full. Don't ask me about another meal. That is when I am indecisive.
Yeah.
Like, my answer is no, I'm not going to ever eat again. But
I can always
It's
eat.
like, I'm gonna worry about this closer to when it's relevant.
I went on a trip to New Orleans, and the group that I was with had lunch and dinner reservations for the entire trip before we got there. And I was in absolute heaven because I never had to worry about food. I didn't have to think about it. I didn't have to make any plans. And I just kind of enjoyed that situation. But also I knew that they were amazing places to eat. But I don't think, like, when I got back from the trip, I don't think I, like, really wanted to eat for, like, a couple of days. Because I was just like, I'm still so full.
That's how I think I was the first time we went on a cruise. And now I'm like, why is life not like this? You just go, they have like, this is when your breakfast is lunch, and then dinner. If they don't have lunch, then here's your breakfast and dinner, and you sort out your own lunch. And there's very few options. You can go to one of the restaurants if you want to pay, but basically they had everything, and they had really delicious food. And you just, if it's something you don't eat, you just don't eat it. I'm like, you're just here. They bring you the food. These are your choices. You pick something from the choice and you just eat it. There's no other decisions to be made. I'm like,
so my family,
I like not having to adult.
There's bacon popcorn at a restaurant that we went out to. Oh my gosh. It was like the thick cut bacon, but in little pieces, and it was in the popcorn, and oh, it was so good.
My family makes Thanksgiving like a whole weekend. So the Wednesday of, like, we do almost all the cooking, and then the Thursday we like finish it up, and then we like a family member who does not cook brings the appetizers. We do that. We have drinks while we're doing the appetizers. We eat, and then the next day we go out to a restaurant pre-panini. This is all pre-panini. We go out to an Italian restaurant. And then the day after, it's like we have we all chill out or whatever type of just hors d'oeuvres, really, because we know we're stuffed from the 2 previous days. But it's like we just know we're having Italian the Friday of. It's like that's a decision we don't have to make. It was made by my grandma years ago. We keep that tradition. That's it. But other than that, like if we ate Thanksgiving and then people are like, what do you want for brunch tomorrow? And what do you want for dinner tomorrow? I'll be like, seriously? No.
The best meal of the year is the morning after Thanksgiving, because you take your frying pan, you slap some butter on there, and you fry up the turkey and the potatoes and the stuffing and the gravy, and then you flip it so it's all butter and fried, and you eat that for breakfast. It's the best meal of the year.
You had me at butter.
Yes.
Yeah, my family, we just take the different containers of all the leftovers, and we're having Thanksgiving 2.0, and that's it. But no one is looking at you being like, that's all the turkey you want? I'm like, yes, that's all the turkey I want.
So this might be blasphemy, but I don't like turkey.
My sister used to not either. My sister used to not either, and then we did a smoked turkey for her because it was smoked and fried turkey for Thanksgiving. But my mom always does a roasted turkey, and she's like, she just doesn't like turkey from the oven. And she had a piece of smoked turkey, and she's like, what is this? I'm like, oh, you're only 30 some years old and just discovering that you do like turkey, but that's okay. She just hadn't had one that she liked. I don't
think it tastes too gamey though. Like it, especially when you leave it overnight and you like cook it the next day. I don't like it.
But I like
rather do ham. I love ham, or I'll just like kind of skip it.
My grandpa was a hunter up here in Canada, and so he would send us down a freezer full of moose, elk, and deer for Christmas. Oh, so good.
Now, when I say gamey, I say that, but I like duck, which I feel like is kind of it's not everyone's cup of tea.
Yeah, see, duck is too gamey for me.
I only like duck if it's Peking duck, and I'm still picky about like which restaurants do Peking duck enough that
before we go too far. I just want to say I don't know why, because I like both popcorn and I love bacon. Bacon makes everything taste better. I don't know how I haven't heard of this bacon and popcorn thing, but I will try this.
Chocolate bacon is really good too.
So when we cook our turkey for Thanksgiving, we line the whole turkey with bacon strips. And so when you take it out of the oven, you get to eat the crispy bacon and the turkey tastes better.
That sounds like it tastes wonderful. It makes me think of it with bacon though. I'm not sure if anyone else does it because I'm all for like sweet and savory together. But take butter toast, jelly on it, and bacon on top of that.
Yes, that's amazing.
So
it's quick and easy and amazing. Yes.
Does anyone like have a hard time eating and writing? Because I feel like I don't. I just either focus on eating or writing because I don't like to have like my hands dirty.
I eat strangely because I'm right hand dominant, so I will eat with my left, which I normally don't do, just to make sure that I can still type. But then I hate typing one handed, so I prefer to have something that a sandwich is too much because then I have to hold it the whole time. I want something like y'all talked about, peanuts and grapes or popcorn or something pop in my mouth, have like a napkin to wipe my left hand off on, but still only use my left. So then I can type with both hands where I'm much faster, more proficient, and my hands can keep up with my brain a little bit better. Not perfectly, but a little better.
I normally don't snack while writing.
Chopsticks to like pick stuff up that you wouldn't usually eat with chopsticks, so you don't get anything on your hands because I have
like Tito's.
Smart thinking.
Yes. But I never have enough around to do that. And I'm like,
I bought some off Amazon.
I have reusable chopsticks and they're great.
I bought the reusable.
I usually just do crackers, or if I have a popcorn, I'll do that because it's something. And I always will have a napkin. And I vlogged yesterday, and I was like so excited. Because I like having muffins and things, but usually I'm reading. I realize I'm reading or rereading while I eat. Once I start working, the food gets forgotten. So that even shows up in the vlog. Like, I'm like, oh my gosh, it's been 2 hours and this muffin is literally still sitting here because I don't eat like that while I'm writing. Not something like a muffin that I'd have to butter and pick up. And I don't. If it's crackers though, then I can grab a cracker, pop it in my mouth, wipe my hands, and then just keep on going.
If I can do it with one hand, I might do it while I'm writing, but normally I don't even do that multitasking. And it's like, okay, my body's hungry. Here it is. I'm going to move my keyboard, just eat the thing really fast, and then get back to work.
So what you just said took me straight back to Mean Girls. Put the butter your muffin. Anyway.
Sorry.
I'm so sorry. And to bear the chocolate bacon, it's like you fry bacon really crispy, and then you dip it in chocolate and like let it cool. And it's like kind of a candied bacon. And it's real good.
One of my favorite things to snack on are these little trays of sharp cheddar and then cashews and dried cranberries.
Ooh, those are good.
So you just make them
you just
a little
have me at
charcuterie
cheese,
board and eat them.
I love cheese and lactose intolerant. I just constantly have my lactate pills with me. Yeah. Just make sure everything.
Lactate never worked for me. The lactate pill, the lactate milk, and my mom eventually just like gave up. And so before I had my nut allergy, we used almond milk, and then at some point it started upsetting my stomach, but we didn't realize what it was. So we switched to rice milk, and
it's funny how the body does that, where you could be completely fine with something, have it every single day of your life, and then just it doesn't work. And that's what happened with me with milk. I was like 19, so God, it's been over 10 years now. And I was 19, and I just like the entire month it was rough, and I kept on going back. What did I have to eat? What did I have to eat? And it was something with milk every single time. So I cut that, and I got better.
For the lactate pill, I did find that I don't like actually read the instructions. Wow. I don't actually read the instructions. I know it's like take one or whatever, but this is not medical advice. I'm just telling you what works for me. I usually will take like 4 of them.
Oh,
I have found that to be helpful.
Yeah.
Depending on how much you have. I mean, if you got mac and cheese, then ice cream, and you're drinking milk at the same time, 4 was probably perfect.
I mean, I'll do like one of those things, and anytime if I'm at a place and they don't have gluten-free pasta or whatever, I'll just be like, I'm taking the hit. I really want this dish. Or, my mom is like, I got strawberry ice cream, Haagen-Dazs. I'm like, my stomach is taking the hit. Like, I want that. Also, most non-dairy ice cream uses nuts. So I'm like,
it's like, wait a minute. Yeah, I'm not really lactose intolerant, even though I feel like I'm heading that direction. Mine is specifically cheese. Like, the doctor said it might be the processing that cheese goes through.
It has to be the processing, because most people are the other way around, where if they're lactose intolerant, they can handle cheese. Or they can handle ice cream, because there's something about the processes that are different than like just having it. But I have a friend, I know 2 people who are just allergic to dairy. Like, it's not just lactose, or it's not that protein. It's like something about dairy, other types of dairy, lactose free dairy. And I'm like, oof.
Yeah, because I'm like, I can drink a glass of milk and be fine. It's when I drink constant, like ice cream than a milkshake, like if I'm having a whole lot of dairy, but I think that's because I've had too much, period. Like, if it was anything, it would make my stomach upset. But if I have cheese specifically, even a little bit, but I will die on the hill for pizza, because I love pizza.
Yes. There's certain meals, like, I don't care. I'll roll the dice, like, because there's been times where I forgot my pills or something, and I'm like, nope, I'm not going to be that person watching everyone else eat what I want.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, all right.
Phoebe and I are opposites.
Are y'all ready for the next sprint?
Yeah. Yes.
All right. Let's. This one only has to be 20.
Sorry about your pineapple pizza yesterday, Richard. Next time, I'm sure they'll have it.
Ew.
Yeah. Listen, I may get upset with pineapple pizza, but it's just like, I know if I was in a group, I wouldn't be forced to eat it. It would be like, I would get my pepperoni or cheese or meat lovers, whatever. Y'all would have y'all's pineapple. It'd be fine.
Look, but it's tasty and I'll eat it. But the thing for me is that if I'm getting pizza, I'm going to ask them for a tomato pie. And if you're in Boston, they know what that is. If you're in New York, maybe they know what that is. And everywhere else, it's like, what's that? And I'm like, it's a margarita pizza without the cheese.
So there's a kind of cheese I think it's DAIYA, and it actually melts, and it's not the worst thing I've ever had. And I say that as a person who was vegan for 16 years and will absolutely not be vegan because bacon. But I love cheese, and I was like, that as if you have to go without it and you need a pizza, I think that's probably the way to go.
Yeah.
I mean, when I was younger, I used to just take the cheese off the pizza, and then someone was like, oh, so you make a tomato pie. And I'm like, what?
And yes, when I was a child and did the Pizza Hut reading program, and you get the personal pizza with one topping, I would get pineapple. I want
a reading program for adults, okay? Like, reading as a kid is not that hard. You got a lot of free time. You might have to skip playing with friends, but you can read. As an adult, if I can read a book in a month, give me some credit.
Yep.
That is a miracle.
Yeah.
Oh, I love this timer.
Yeah.
That's my favorite one. I hope that's not okay, because I made an executive decision.
It's completely fine as long as it's
it looks beautiful, so I'm all for it.
Yep. All right. And
Are we ready?
Yeah, we're ready. I'm just setting up a scrolly thing that says, hey, we're doing a sprint number 2.
If anybody was looking to see Dobby, here he is.
In all his greatness. I've peeked at him a few times. Yeah. Pretty much, if you're new to the channel, Chandra or mine, on Flash Fiction Fridays, no, Flash Fiction Live, which is on Saturdays at 8:30, Dobby and Spencer, Dobby the cat, Spencer the boy, they have like a text messaging chain or something, because they'll come on screen like at the exact same time usually.
It's amazing.
It's, I don't know what like telepathic things they got going on, but they are like on a wavelength.
It's like mom's on screen. I'm going to show up.
Pretty much. So it works. But all right, let's sprint. This is going to be a self-care thing for me. I need something. I don't know what I need, but I need something. A nap is not an option.
Here we go. Self-care in 3, 2, and 1.
Snacking on screen if anyone needs that bingo square.
Don't worry, we're not starting another timer. I swear.
My bad.
No, you're
I knew
keeping
I
us
had
in
like
suspense.
20 seconds left, and I was still like super focused.
So I didn't realize that timer had gurgling. So like I'm walking around the house and I hear gurgling. I'm like, oh my god, am I hungry? Did I eat? And then I was like, oh no, it's the timer.
That's funny. For some reason, I think the soothing nature of the sound makes it so much easier for me to focus specifically with that timer.
Yeah. Hell, right now I want to take a nap, but I'm going to be monitoring the next 4 sprints.
I think I won't be able to jump back in until later in the day, but I still haven't gotten my bingo.
Oh no.
Oh no. Yeah,
Yeah,
I've got almost a full board. I'm trying to just fill out my whole board. I'm 2 things away from filling it out.
What do you need?
Let me see.
Me?
Yeah, anybody.
I need someone to like
we can make
shout.
it happen.
I need someone to shout the question 3, like as in the number. I don't know what that means.
Okay,
yeah.
Jessica said what it meant. So you know how sometimes when things freeze and we do the 3 fingers, but if you say 3, 3, 3, everybody says 3, I guess, until the host is like, okay, I can hear everybody. We're all going at the same time.
I have never heard that before.
It's a troublemakers thing. So
Yeah.
you say 3, and then you wait to hear the person who's frozen say 3 to see how long of a delay there is.
Oh.
See how bad it is.
Okay.
I used to do that with colors. I'm like, all right, blue. And then it would be like blue. And I'm like, oh, okay, we got like a 20-second delay here.
So
and then dancing on screen and someone laugh until they cry.
Yeah.
Well, I was watching Steve Harvey Family Feud compilations, and it was which one of the 7, it's 2 guys up there for the initial thing. It says, which one of the 7 dwarfs would describe your wife in bed? And both guys look at each other and go, like they are like, I am not answering this. I value
and you don't answer that, buddy.
Yeah. I've got everything except for 2 that I think I have to do. Because yesterday was a plethora. Now, technically, they didn't say your opinion is wrong. Your opinion is valid but wrong, but they said that they said it close enough. But if anyone needs it said exactly
I said
like
it
that
yesterday on my stream.
Okay, you did say. How did I miss that? What was I doing?
I don't know, but I was talking about Riley being upset that I was following the medical instructions of once you have your pill, you can't eat for an hour.
Okay, so I officially got it. Yeah. How did I totally? You know what? I think you said it before I pulled up my bingo card. I think yours was one of the first ones. Yours was.
It was the first one. Like it was the first productivity.
That's why I didn't have my bingo card pulled up yet.
Okay, well, Nia, do you want to run through your bingo card? Because maybe I covered some of these for you.
I've got everything else because I think halfway through your stream is when I actually got generated my thing. The only things I have left I have to do is complete your draft. Does that count as anybody? Did anybody complete the draft?
I need to. I named the 3. So 3 dancing on screen, not during the dance party, and someone on screen laughs until they cry. I need to complete my draft. So obviously that's like a me thing. And then the other one is get over 500 words in a single sprint, which is probably not going to happen because I'm revising.
Yes.
So I can't get blackout bingo.
Today. So,
and
I mean, that was a dream.
I need to share a link. I need to share a link for a stream on Instagram. How do you share a link though? Does it have
I did that yesterday. When you add it to your story, if you go into those like where you would put in like a hashtag or at somebody, there's one where it says share a link, and then you actually like copy paste the link into it, and when you it's a link.
We got eating on stream right now.
Yeah. So I did that one yesterday, and then what I need in order to just get bingo today is donate to the fundraiser stream or kill off a character. So I anticipate killing a character sometime soon.
So you click like the sticker one, and then it says link,
Mhm.
and then you tap that, and then you type the link, and you can change the text once you've typed the link.
All right, let me try this. All right, I'm going to try and link our screen right now. So if I'm busy, this is what I'm doing, guys. Everybody smile. I think it's a delay. I don't know how much of a delay it is. And when I see, I'm on the YouTube one, so you guys got to wait till I see it on the YouTube. Hopefully we'll get it.
You are smacking. You haven't learned how to chew with your mouth closed yet.
All right, I think I got everybody.
Yeah, I'm talking to my son the whole time, but it's fine.
No. I'm on YouTube. I opened up YouTube for this, so I got
smart.
you smiling. I got you smiling. I think I got everybody smiling at the same time.
Like this.
Oh, you went like this?
So,
Squinted your eyes?
Yeah.
I have a question though. Does writing a flash fiction count as completing a draft? Because I did draft a full flash fiction.
I think it does.
I count that. I just
draft.
said that you can play fast and loose with this stuff. I have
It's your own rules.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 more chapters to get through.
So,
But it's revising. So like sometimes they go really fast and other times they don't. So maybe I'll get lucky and get 500 words in a single sprint, but I doubt that, but I'll be able to get hopefully if someone dances on screen now, then I can fill it.
Does that count?
Yes. Thank you.
Okay, question though. This is where we get really serious.
Spencer, I dance, and he goes, biscuits.
No.
Hush. Okay, I'm sorry.
Does finishing a flash fiction also count as finishing a chapter?
Sam said yes.
Okay.
I think so.
Yeah.
I'll have bingo.
Bingo!
Now I'm also dancing on screen again in case you missed it.
I'm on a live stream. The purpose is for me to talk.
I'm sorry, that's just really funny to me. I need the 3 thing to happen.
I got you.
And
All right,
then,
if someone says 3, I think we all have to.
3.
No, Natalie, I think you go last. 3.
Oh, okay.
Because you're the host. 3.
Okay.
so how does it work? We all just like say it.
Say 3, and then
Says
the
3, and everybody says 3 when they see the 3 fingers are up.
host. Okay.
Okay.
3.
Yeah.
3.
3.
All right, I think that counts.
Done.
Thank you.
I'm
I don't
not
care that
gonna
we're
do
playing
it.
fast and loose with these. Jess said we were allowed to play fast and loose.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was me yesterday. We were on a stream. The hosts were like cracking up, but I'm like, I need an official. Were there tears?
So my eyes
Which stream was it?
teary, but nothing dropped down when Spencer went biscuits.
I count that. If you got teary,
I got teary. I will vouch. I got teary. What did you
if your eyes were not completely dry, it counts, which means I am now only the 2 squares away from getting blackout bingo.
Yeah.
Okay, so I was gonna say though, if that one didn't count, I did tear up yesterday after I yelled at people on stream.
Oh, that was on my stream. I couldn't tell.
Great. That was great.
What did you
What
even say?
happened? I gotta rewatch everybody's stream tomorrow.
I like,
It was golden.
If you watch 6 streams, you get the replay badge.
oh cool.
Right.
I will have to do that. No, I shouted stop it because Dobby was grabbing this bag out of the trash.
Oh, no, don't say anything else. People need to do the rewatch. It's on my channel.
Yep.
It's the first
I am gonna
productivity
do the
sprint
rewatch.
after the opening ceremony.
It's like in the first 15 minutes too. I think.
I'm
think
imagining you
I
going,
think it was-
stop it! And everyone's like, what?
Was it during
I
the
think what
intros or
happened?
was it like after the first sprint? But it was Callie was talking.
Yes.
I
And all of a sudden,
Spencer, can we stop churning?
No.
Oh gosh, that was good times.
Can we
freeze.
stop churning now?
No.
Red light, green light, 1, 2, 3. None of us knew we were playing, and then all of a sudden, wham!
Oh, good times.
I don't know what's happening. It's good. Neither do we. We got like 4 more minutes, then I'm gonna give everybody a break. so that they can go to the next.
Okay, my eyes are teary talking about what happened yesterday. So like,
There you go. That counts.
Ow, definitely.
Wait, where's my headphones?
Dobby,
if-
you've done enough.
Whew.
I feel like
the
if
cat
people
heard
are
us
after
say
this,
his name enough times, and he's like, "Yes."
he's
So
over
your
here yelling.
Dobby, despite what you think, Dobby does know his name.
Well, so here's the thing. He's upset with me because he got the zoomies yesterday right after I filled up his bowl, and he spilled all of his food all over the floor. But I'm not going to give him more food because his food is there. It's just on the floor, you know? And
Yeah.
he doesn't want to eat it because it's not in his bowl. And I'm like, sir, that is 100% not my
Hey,
fault.
Mom.
Yeah, Riley didn't want to eat all of her breakfast, and something that she does, and I don't really know why. She does it more at my place than my mom's place, which is even weirder, but she'll take a bunch of food in her mouth and then drop it all on the floor and then eat like some of what's on the floor. But then keep going. She doesn't clean the floor. No, there's still like stuff there. And then this time specifically, she didn't even clean her bowl. So then she's like, I want more food. And I was like, you have food that you did not finish.
Yeah, no, my dogs will like grab their food, which is in the kitchen, and then come into the living room where they can see us, drop the food, and eat it. So they can like eat near us or something. I don't know what it is.
That's so cute. But no,
Very
like
adorable.
I'm
I
always
actually
where
gotta
she
pick
is eating. Like I'm here at my place, and then at my mom's place, we sit in the kitchen with her.
So yesterday I fed, when I was feeding Piper, first of all, I have to make sure that she starts eating before Dobby gets in there. Otherwise, he will like try to eat her food. But, now,
Pet walking on screen counts every single time Dobby has done it.
Hey, Mom.
yeah, you
Yeah,
can just check it off.
I feel like that should count as like 15 bingos and stuff. Like that can be your free space
Mom.
for anything else.
Mom.
It's all the times that
Mom.
Dobby comes on. Again, loose rules.
Mom.
Yes, sweetie.
He, so I fed Piper, and I had just fed Dobby, and he started eating his food, heard me feeding Piper, and ran into the kitchen just try to steal some of her food.
What the?
Like, you're 100% not hungry. It's not even a question.
He's just mean.
He's a bully. This is what a bully looks like. In the dictionary, if you look up bully, this is the picture that you will see.
And
It's
it will
a very
hit you in the
goofy
face
picture.
when you see it. Like, not claws out, just like pop you. It will do that.
So Roy will take his food out of his bowl and put it on the floor and then eat it off the floor.
Yeah.
Odd.
It
Like,
is-
I don't understand the taking
I'm
it out.
I'm blanking. Is Roy also a Havanese or
No, he's a Coton de Tulier.
okay? Well, they're cousins.
Yeah.
Their breeds are cousins, and I'm wondering.
Okay. I'll open it in later. Hold
Like
on.
Riley used to love big dogs. Didn't matter the breed, and she didn't like small dogs unless they were Havanese.
Put
Now
it down for now.
she is
Sit
so
down.
greedous that she's like, I don't want another dog near me unless it's another Havanese, a Bichon, which is a cousin breed of Havanese, a Maltese maybe, and we haven't met Coton de Tuliers like on the street of New York where we are, so I'm sure it would be the same where it's like, oh, you're a cousin.
Whoa. Yeah, when my dogs eat grass, I just leave them outside. I'm like, I'm going to let that run through your system and do its job. I'm not bringing you back inside. And true enough. I got to pick up Lilo and Stitch today from the pet sitter. They had fun. Ooh, short story. And then I swear we'll do outros because we never did intros because I'm a bad host. But I at least took off the banner so you can see everybody's names. And everybody's links are down below. My dog was at the pet sitters, and some of you know, I got Lilo and Stitch. Stitch has seizures.
That is the end of
Sorry.
our.
Stop.
I was like,
Oh,
wait,
I was like,
what?
that mean? Apparently, I had a stream going on my phone. I don't know.
But Stitch has seizures, and Lilo's seen like every single one of these. Well, and my pet sitter knows about it. She's dealt with seizures, so I trust her and stuff. Well, my pet sitter's, her own dog had a seizure, and Lilo went and got the owner's attention to bring them to their dog, who was laying in another room. And I'm like,
MVP.
yes. It was like a little proud moment. I loved it. Like who would have thought my Lilo? Of course, like she's awesome, but little hero dog.
Yeah,
Proud mama moment.
Yes.
Mom,
So it works. Yes, sweetie.
you tell my Lilo.
Yes, I was talking about Lilo. You're Lilo. Sorry.
Mhm.
He loves that dog. They are two peas in a pod. It is adorable. They're gonna be all over each other, but I gotta pick them up. So, all right. I was a bad hostess. So, let's go in clockwise. Okay, I had to think. Starting with Laura, going down to Nia and over. The outros, because y'all were oh, I'm a writer, not a speaker.
Oh, we're lovey. I like it.
Lovely, Dovey. Y'all were awesome. This was great, and I hope we were able to complete other people's bingos during this stream. And my son's asked me questions, so yes, Laura, please kick us off in the outros.
Okay. My name is Laura Nettles. My channel is Laura Nettles. I do writing stuff. I make timers, and I also have a podcast called Twisted Tendrils, Horrific Writing Advice. There are 12 episodes up so far, and they are writing advice, usually geared towards horror, but not always. Like there's episodes on refilling the creative well, how to write a flash fiction, and things like that. And yeah, come follow along. It's great. I'm on submission journey with short stories and a query journey with a middle grade horror novel. So come follow.
Hi, everyone. My name is Chandra Arthur. I write historical fiction, science fiction, fantasy, and horror. I also am one half of Flash Fiction Live, which you can catch here on my channel on Saturday mornings at 8:30, where we do very similar to what we did today with the prompt and 10 words. Definitely come join us for that. I have a channel under my name. Oh, I got the right spot right here. Or you can find me on social media at @CChanWrite. Also, if you would like what did we decide it was? A book buffer? Check out my Ko-fi, because I will read a book and tell you if there's anything that might be triggering based off of your specific requests. So definitely.
If I can make that an actual job and live off of it, I would never work a day in my life.
Right?
Like, oh no, please don't give me a list of books to read.
And I have to for work.
It's my job.
Love it.
My turn, or
Yes.
okay. My name is Zara Hoffman. I'm the self-published author of 6 books, a young adult paranormal romance trilogy, which is slowly becoming audiobooks. The first one's already available. And a new adult sci-fi romance trilogy. I write whatever story comes to mind. So the current book I'm writing is romance. The next one won't be. So be sure to follow me on my YouTube channel is my name, but I mostly just host sprints on it. And I have a Twitch, which is also my name. But the best place to follow me is on Ko-fi, ko-fi.com/Zara. I am the co-creator, co-host, and editor of the Write-ish podcast, Write-I-ish, with fellow author tuber Kelly Wright. I am one of the permanent co-hosts of Nia, the Vixen of Fiction's Author Tubers React series, which is once a month. This coming one is on the 25th, and we just talk about topics and things like that. It normally gets pretty silly, fun time. And I am the founder of a new publishing company called Inimitable Books, LLC, where I am trying to uplift marginalized voices without forcing authors to spotlight their trauma. I think that's everything.
That's awesome. And I am Nia, the Vixen of Fiction. You can find my YouTube and Instagram and all of the things. I write historical fiction, sci-fi, and fantasy. My big project is a epic sci-fi fantasy, more of a space opera style. And I'm also working on a big fantasy. And on the side, I like to write romance and historical fiction. So that is my nano project. I have a YouTube channel that I do with Loki. Mostly I host AuthorTubers React. The writer's wrap up and scripting the book. We'll be doing AuthorTubers React this coming up Saturday. So hopefully it'll be a fun time. Come hang out with us and talk about things in the writer and bookish community. Scripting the book I do with Natalie, and we're going to be doing Clueless at the end of July, because I am also participating in Jane Austen July for the first time, where we get to read Jane Austen books and watch adaptations and have fun. So I will have some content. Happy Father's Day and happy Juneteenth.
Hey, Mom.
Solid. Yes, sweetie. What?
Yep. I cut it. But
Okay, yes, you can cut the popsicle, but we're doing it together. I'm not just handing you the scissors, and I mean, I have limits. Okay. So, my date is booked. I am Natalie Luck. What you just witnessed is pretty much what you're going to find all the time on my YouTube, on my Twitch. What?
I said the
Okay. I don't always understand what he's saying, but we go with it. But Natalie Luck on Twitch and YouTube, doing this Flash fiction thing. And today I just wrote Flash number 121, but I've skipped for the last few times. So I got like 3 in the backlog that I need to do. But yeah, I do Flash Fiction Live every Saturday with Chandra, and except we skipped yesterday because of World Wide Writeathon. I'm just gonna say triple W or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then scripting the book, which it was my pick for Clueless. So I think similarly how for Princess Bride, I went through an entire quotes section. I think I might do the same thing for Clueless.
Do it.
Yeah. Luckily, I got plenty of time to listen to Emma, the audiobook, so I'm going to get through that. What are you doing, buddy? He's moving my mouse through. No, it's not going to go up.
Yeah. Your mask go up.
For World Wide Writeathon, I'm positive that we call it woo.
Well,
We're going to do that from now on.
www, as if we're back in those days where we always felt like we had to say that for a URL.
Yes.
Well, it's so funny when people spell it out and they go HTTPS : is that a backslash or a forward slash? Well, let's say slash, and then you're like, well, is it forward or backwards? Well, which one's forward? I still don't know.
Mom.
I'm like, the one that's normally in a URL. What do you think?
This one,
Yeah, go with it.
slash. This one's backslash.
Hey,
Oh
Mom.
wait,
Yeah.
no.
But you're reversed. So you just,
You might be reversed.
you just messed everybody up.
Don't listen to us. Well, you can stop listening to us now. You just got 2.5 hours of us going through this thing. So, thank you.
I'll be
for
on
joining.
later tonight at 5.
Yes,
If
I'll be
anybody's
on. Gosh, I'll be on Nia's stream at 5. So if you
I'll
have
be in the
any
chat. 'Cause I didn't
missing
sign up for a third
blocks for
stream.
bingo, any missing blocks for bingo, let us know.
Yes.
We can try to get it to happen. I don't know how I'll make my screen freeze, but I could. So
Your mask up.
my mouse, yeah, I know you want my mouse up, but it's not going up. We got to put the mouse right. Oh, there. We're gonna end broadcast. There's a few clicks. All right, so we're gonna slowly get to end broadcast. I'm gonna let my son click it. Oh, not yet, not yet. Thank you everybody for coming. Appreciate it, and I adore my co-hosts. All their links are down below. Yeah, keep us following, or keep following us. You don't even know why you're laughing.
Yes, he does. He does.
All right. Click it. It's time to go. Bye. Click up, and then you got to go down and click again. It's a whole process. Click again. Click again.